If you're in need of a bike for running errands, cruising around town, or hitting the local paved trail, I believe this beauty should definitely be on your list to consider. Let me introduce you to the VANPOWER Urban Glide, perfectly designed for effortless city cruising. The first thing you should know is that there are 3 different models of the Urban Glide. There's the Ultra, the Pro, and this one, which is the basic model. The standard model is your starting point, and it's the most budget-friendly price. Today, I'll dive into all the features included in this standard model, and I'll also touch on some of the features you'll find in the Ultra and Pro models. So the first thing that caught my eye when I unpacked it was the color. It boasts a very distinctive shade of gray that I find quite appealing. It's both impressive and uncommon to see this particular gray on a bicycle, but it's a tone that's becoming increasingly popular in cars. In fact, my personal car sports a very similar hue. In the professional and extreme versions, you can choose between 2 different sizes, but the standard model only comes in one size. However, don't be fooled by the small size. This actually works great for me, and I'm 6'3". Honestly, I think it could even accommodate people taller than me. The seat is adjustable, so you can experiment with various height ranges. For example, my wife, who's only 5 foot tall, absolutely loves the comfort that this bike offers. However, I believe that this e-bike is designed with cyclists taller than 5 feet in mind. Currently, the step-through design is one aspect of this that I truly like. As you can see, the step-through is incredibly low. It sits at the same level as the crankset's chainring, making it one of the lowest step-throughs that I've ever experienced. Because of how low it is, anyone of any height can easily climb on. Among the many comfort features of this bike, the low step-through height is just one more addition. An adjustable stem is also one of the significant features included with this bike. You can adjust the stem to exactly what you want as a rider by raising or lowering it. Additionally, it does have a seat that is moderately comfy. Now, the Pro or the Ultra do have premium seats, so if you're considering buying one of these bikes, you might want to take that into consideration. Anyways, looking at the bike's back, you can see that it has a 500-watt rear hub motor, which is more than enough power for a Class 2 e-bike that is now powered by a 48-volt battery that can be removed entirely. You can expect a maximum range of about 65 miles from this battery, which has a capacity of 690 watt-hours and 14.4 amp-hours. One of the amazing things that VANPOWER did was to equip this base model with a 3-amp charger. On the Pro or the Ultra, you can get a 4-amp charger, but having at least a 3-amp-hour will shorten the charging time. When you go on this bike, you'll notice immediately its enormous computer display. I adore that they installed a very excellent, non-generic display with a full-color screen here. And if you guys have ever used an e-bike with a color display, you'll know that it really does make a difference, especially during broad daylight. On these e-bikes, the only controls you truly need are power, plus, and minus buttons, which are all located in this incredibly convenient small control center. You don't need a large and cumbersome control system, and this will free up just enough space for the extra accessories like a bell or a phone holder. A front headlight and a rear tail light are also included with the electronics that come with this bike. Even while the front headlight isn't very strong, it will at least be visible to oncoming traffic, and it is bright enough for you to see on your way if you need to make it home after dark. The back tail light on any commuter or city bike is something that I personally really value. This one not only lights up, but it also features a built-in reflector and will begin to flash each time you apply the brakes. Oh, and regarding the brakes, they do use cable-actuated brakes rather than hydraulic ones. Now, although I do realize that they had to use conventional cable-driven brakes in order to preserve the price range they desired, I would have preferred to see hydraulic brakes on this bike. It will now have 180mm front and rear rotors, giving you a good-sized rotor that should stop you without any issues. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the drivetrain, because that's going to be something that you'll end up using quite a bit on this bike. So this is a 7-speed Shimano shifter, and you're going to get a non-branded front crankset. It's going to be a 170mm crank arm with a 42-tooth chainring on the front. Looking back on the back, it does seem to have the standard Shimano cassette. This is 7 speeds, and it's going to be a 14 to 28 tooth cassette. And then of course, this does come with a turny TZ derailleur on the back, so you're going to get a quality Shimano derailleur. Now, it's not their highest end, but at least it is a Shimano branded derailleur, so you know your shifting is going to be quality every single time. As I already said, this is a Class 2 e-bike. Therefore, the top speed with the throttle and the top speed with the pedal assist will both be 20 miles per hour. Now, the Ultra or the Pro will still be Class 2 vehicles if you choose them, but they will now include a torque sensor. This specific model only has a basic cadence sensor, thus it won't be as simple to use as, say, a torque sensor type. So, if that's a worry of yours, well, you might want to look into the Ultra or the Pro model. Checking at the front suspension from this angle, it does have a zoom fork. This is simply a typical spring hydraulic fork. It's not air. It'll do the job, and it appears to absorb the road's jolts and paved trail bumps fairly effectively. This does come with some non-branded wheels that are 27.5 inches in size, and it will be fitted with some lovely tires that have very little rolling resistance. These amazing metal fenders are just one of the aspects of the styling on this that I particularly appreciate. So they've got this really cool, distinctive design, which gives them a more, futuristic, contemporary appearance rather than just a regular rounded fender. You receive both the front and the back of those. And furthermore, you do receive a fairly good back rack. One thing to keep in mind is that the bars on this are a bit thicker than the majority of the racks on any of my other bikes, so some of the bags I have won't clamp around this. You'll want to make sure that the bags you buy for this are going to be designed to clip onto this slightly thicker tubing here. But apart from that, this rack can support up to 55 pounds. Alright adventurers, so I took the UrbanGlide up the hill where I always test all of my e-bikes, and this raises the grade to roughly 19%. So we're simply going to see how easily I can climb this hill. So let's go ahead and start this on level 5 like I do with all my bikes. This slope in my neighborhood is by far the steepest, making it the ideal test to assess how well these motors perform. Anyways, alright, let's start now and move forward. So it seems that even on a more challenging terrain, the speed range is quite good. But I can notice that on slightly steeper roads, the speed starts to drop slightly. However, for the type of use that my family and I give to this type of bike, it is somewhat insignificant, considering the rest of the benefits that we find in it and obviously the price. So yeah, I've gotta say, this 500-watt motor is truly impressive. I really didn't expect it to handle this hill as effortlessly as it did. However, I believe much of the credit actually goes to the bike's lightness. This guy is notably lighter compared to many of the other bikes that I've ridden equipped with a 500-watt motor. Overall, I have found riding this bike to be a real pleasure. From the moment you open the box to the first time you assemble it, it is just, man, it's delightful. Regardless of whatever terrain you choose, this bike is going to respond very well. It's quite reliable, attractive, and incredibly robust despite its light weight. Now, since this is the standard model, you might want to consider trying the Ultra and Pro if you're looking for more advanced component selections, or perhaps even a mid-engine design. If you want to learn more about this bike or purchase one for yourself, I've included some links in the description box, so feel free to take advantage of those links. Alright adventurers, thank you so much and I'll see you in the next one.